Hey guys, how's it going? It is an overcast day, it is a super beautiful day, and we're actually doing our second garden tour of the month. I know it's a lot, it seems like a lot, it feels like a lot for me also, but when I did my first garden tour, all of the tulips up here were in bloom, and the ones in the back were not in bloom. Now the ones in the back are in bloom, and the ones up here are starting to fade. This is south facing, and so these ones I knew were gonna last a little bit less time, and they were gonna come up a little bit earlier, and that's exactly what happened. So I wanna show you guys up close how everything looks and what these tulips up here have done. We've been able to enjoy them for about 2 weeks now, and they're starting to fade. We did have a huge storm that came through, and it actually destroyed quite a few of them. And it was really upsetting because they were in their prime and they looked so good. And now some of the petals look extremely sad. And that's because our gutters had overfilled. It was so much water that the downspout couldn't take care of it. And the water was pouring over the gutters and it just like destroyed them. And then shortly after that, we had hail come through and that just kind of like really damaged them. So I'm gonna grab the camera now and take you guys for a tour around the rest of the property. Okay, so starting up front, we have 2 arbovitas right here in these 2 containers that flank the door. I talk about these every single time. When we bought them, they were about half the size, and they have done so well. I have a surprise of daffodils coming up here. I forgot that I had planted them, but they're coming up. We'll see if we actually even get daffodils off of it. I mean, it would be quite the treat if we did. So that'd be really nice. And then here are the tulips that are in the front. They're obviously, you know, starting to wind down quite a bit, and then you can see on the leaves here, this is all the damage from the hail. So that's what the hail did. It was super sad. I was so upset because I mean everything was looking so good, and then a hailstorm came along. But I'm still enjoying the color. From a distance, they look good. So that's all right with me. Eventually we are gonna be pulling all of the brick here, and we're gonna be replacing all of the brick edging that we have around the entire property with metal edging, just because these bricks move and I have to shuffle them probably about 2 to 3 times a year just to keep them somewhat straight, and it's a lot of work. So we're gonna go with like a metal edging that's a little more permanent. Coming over this way, these tulips, look, you can see I've already actually started to pull some bricks from the property, making a pile. So these tulips look a little bit better, not too bad, but also definitely on the like downward spiral. And then our butterfly bush, this thing will double in size this year, and we love it because it actually provides quite a bit of privacy while we sit on our front porch over there from, you know, the road and everything. So this thing got cut back to about half this winter, and then it gave us a random flush of blooms. You can see the dead blooms, and now it's pushing all of its new growth again. If we come in this way, these are the tulips that look the worst. And this section of gutter that's right here, this is where everything started really pouring out, and you can see, look at how bad those look. They're so sad. They just got hit with the water, and it was heartbreaking. We came out here and we just knew that they were just gonna be decimated. They all should be looking like this right here, but you know, it is what it is. If you guys saw the last garden tour that I did, I had talked about how there was some tulips right here that the leaves looked a little bit different, and I was so confused why they looked so different. Well, turns out they were different. I had planted a bag of the sauna tulips right here. So these ones are a little bit more late to bloom, which is perfect because they didn't get hit, the flowers didn't get hit by the hailstorm, but the leaves did. So the leaves look a little scraggly, but that's okay because the tulips themselves look beautiful. They're a little bit smaller, more like vase shaped, versus these ones are more like a goblet almost. So definitely different. And you can tell, I mean, it's nice because they're pink, so they kind of sort of blend in. Not really, but that's okay. And then this side looks really good. I think because the gutter comes out right here, and so these ones didn't get hit with a ton of water. Like, this is what this entire thing should look like. Is that not so beautiful? This mix right here is called Shocks and Struts. This is what I have on the entire property. Shocks and Struts, sauna, and then in the back you guys are gonna see one more variety that we have also that we grew. They're all from color blends. And then I had some in this window box that I planted, but it sounds like I'm not the only person that had a problem with them. These are the Shocks and Struts also, but I think they didn't get enough water, and we had a few freak days that got extremely hot, And when they got extremely hot, I think that they just dried out and it kind of cooked the roots. So they didn't grow. And the ones that did grew extremely short in comparison to the ones down here. So sauna mixed into it, and I think what I'll do next year, because I really love the look of the sauna ones, and I love how they come a little bit later, is I'm gonna order shocks and struts and sauna again, and then I'm gonna just mix them all together. And that way, as the shocks and struts starts to fade, the sauna comes in and like fills in the gaps, so we get an even longer show from one area. Then we're gonna come this way. You guys know the forsythia, it is starting to bloom, which is, I mean, it's exciting, it's pretty, but it's not gonna stay. I do wanna try training some of this into like a topiary or a standard. I think that that would be really fun. And then you guys can see all of the tulips down here. So we're gonna come this way past my hoard of plants. If you guys saw my trip to Monrovia, there's a little peek of what I actually ended up getting. These two topiaries right here, and there's another little topiary over here. We're gonna come back through this way, and we're not gonna judge any mess that we see, because this is real life gardening, okay? So over here I have a couple yews. We've got 3 of them that we planted, and I'm expecting this year for them to peek over the fence and start giving us some more privacy. I've got some espalier. I've got a Freya. We have some espalier right here. This is honeysuckle, and I just did a ton of maintenance, and I already need to maintain it again. Coming around the corner, we just mowed the lawn. We have a couple, you know, dead spots, and I mean, this is all Bermuda grass right here, which this is all gonna come out. Our little Westie boys, he's buried right there. The tree came out there, and then that patch right there is the last remnants from our flower farm. And you guys can see all of the tulips that are coming up. I mean, you see in the back and then right up here. So this section over here, this is the Clearwater tulip. Look at the way that they look up against the black fence. That is so pretty. So I'm gonna be growing so many more of these. I only ordered 100 this year, and I think I wanna order a couple hundred, and I wanna just like deck out the flower beds with these white ones. They are so tall, and they are so pretty. I love the way that they just glow. I'm obsessed with them. They haven't even fully opened yet, and I'm just extremely happy with how they look. You can see the inside has like, if it'll open, the inside has yellow, like a creamy yellow color. They're just gorgeous. And then over here, my contraption to keep the dogs out of this bed, because they love to run up this door and then they come cut across into this bed. This is also Clearwater and some sauna tulips, and this area is in a ton more shade. Like this just gets like the reflection from the sun. So that's why these ones aren't blooming quite yet. This is a much shadier bed. So these ones probably have another week or two, and same for that little section right there. This is all very much like shade. So I get to enjoy tulips now, planting them in the sun and in the shade for a very long period of time, which is really, really nice. Coming back over this way, we have our aviary, and I think I'm gonna pull the wisteria that we have there. The one that we have there hasn't bloomed very well or performed very well, and I think I'm gonna order a white wisteria from Monrovia, and I'm gonna grow the white wisteria up and over it, because that white one was so gorgeous when I went on that trip to Monrovia. It was stunning, and I've been thinking about it, and I should have grabbed it while I was down there, but I didn't. So I'm definitely gonna order one of those. And then right here, I have a spirea. It is huge. It's put on so much growth. This is called candy corn double play, or double play candy corn, or something like that. I've got a couple alliums, and then some lettuce, some purple lettuce that I picked up from the cottage gardens of Petaluma. Picked those up there. And this, like, look at the color. It looks like it should be a fall plant, but this is its spring color. It's so pretty. I've got some Helen von Stein lamb's ear down here and a Japanese anemone, and I would love for the Japanese anemone to fill that area. And then the Helen von Stein to like kind of take over also. I still need to move the boxwood balls that I have right here, because these calla lilies are taking over and they're gonna want more space than I've actually given them. So this is our aviary with our finch in here, and they stay out year round. I get that question every time. So they do stay out year round, and they get fed every single day, and they get water every day. I have a couple tulips in here, which is funny that these ones are blooming and like half color because these are also in full shade. Like I have a fern right here and this is in full shade and we have color on them. This was just kind of like I had a few extra and I was like, well, what am I gonna do with them? Where am I gonna plant them? And I just tossed them into this flower bed and I wasn't even sure if they were gonna actually take or do anything, and so I'm really happy that they did. Quickly glancing at this bed, nothing has changed from the last garden tour that we did. If you've missed it, we're doing a espaliered apple. This one's about 3 years old. And then where that post right there is going to be a grass. I need to remove this. This is a chokeberry, and then it's gonna go espaliered apple, a grass, espaliered apple, a grass, espaliered apple. And that's gonna be like a formal cottagey touch. And then I'm gonna underplant it with all kinds of things. So not much has changed there. And I'm gonna turn the camera and we're not gonna talk about my mess, okay? So there's my mess. We have 2 gorilla carts, my pile of bricks, a barbecue, containers, all the things, and we're just gonna move past it. I do want to show you really quickly our willow tree. Look at it, it's turning so green. It's so pretty, it's so exciting. Spring is here. We're moving on. Over here, I do have a bunch of naked ladies, amaryllis, that are popping up. And so if you don't know about those, what happens is in the springtime, you get all of your foliar growth. And it's just this, I mean, it's pretty, it's nice green and it looks lush around the willow tree. And then that'll all die back this springtime. And then in the summertime, you're just gonna get these flower stalks. And that's why they're called naked ladies, is because all of a sudden in the summertime, you're just gonna get flowers. And you're like, that is so crazy. Where are the leaves for it? But they show up in the springtime. Coming over here, our window boxes, I still haven't replaced anything in them, but things are starting to grow. The creeping Jenny has put out a ton of new growth. The other one is actually much fuller. Let me show you guys that. Look at, see all of this growth that it's put on? So that's really exciting. I just am excited to see this like cascading down. That's gonna be so gorgeous. I do need to pull the cyclamen out and I wanna replace it with something a little more springtime. I should have planted some bulbs in there, but I didn't, and that's okay. Coming around this way, look at the tulips. It's so pretty. I just love tulips, and we see this from our living room window, and so it's so nice to see this pop of color on the black fence. They shine. It's gorgeous. The rose that we have right here, Claire Austin, and the rose that we have right here, this is a pink iceberg rose. Both of them have put out a ton of growth. The Claire Austin has really taken off. It was completely defoliated like a month ago. There was not a single leaf on it, and this is what it's done. We've got some birch trees back here. They're absolutely massive. I bought those bare root. I've got a snowball viburnum tucked in the very back, so I should get some like white blooms coming here pretty soon. I do think I need to paint the side of the chicken coop black, or possibly just remove the chicken coop. That's something for next year to think about. I don't know how much longer we're gonna keep the chickens. I've got hydrangea, and then look at this oxalis. It is starting to fill in so well, and this thing is going to reach about this tall. It's going to get absolutely massive. This is about a year old now, so it's pretty young. It fills out extremely fast. It's one of my favorites. And then it gets these white blooms. You can see here's a bloom spike starting to form, and there's just gonna be these really pretty white flowers. Coming in here at the vegetable garden, not much has been done since we built the raised bed, just because we've had such terrible weather, but I did say the next garden tour I would give better updates about this, and so that's what we're gonna talk about. So I am going to be ordering a new arch. I love this one, it's a cattle panel, but this was just made out of like scrap pieces that we had. And you guys can see, this is kind of like a danger stick. So it just kind of like gets you sometimes as you walk in, and same on the other side, gets you also. So I need something that's a little safer, that I can just walk in and just not catch myself on it. And something that's a little more sturdy. It's been here for like 3 years, and we just have it zip tied up at the top, which has been a super great arch for years. I just would like something a little bit sturdier and more robust. Coming in here, the new garden bed has been built. Still need to paint it, but we're waiting for days that are not rainy and cold and humid. In here, this is all going to get refilled. I just pulled out the berries, and I'm just making sure that no berries are gonna start growing before I, you know, plant it on up. And then I do need to touch it up with paint before I plant it, but I'm gonna wait to paint it, you know, obviously until I get this one painted. Our garlic over here is looking really, really good. I'm hoping to get an extremely early harvest out of this garlic because this was planted so early, and like the stalks on these are absolutely massive. I have 2 varieties in here. I don't quite remember off the top of my head what varieties they were, but it doesn't even matter because I just love garlic. We go through so much of it. And then onions down here, and we have a lime tree that looks like I'm starting to get some new growth on here, which is exciting. I can't remember, this might be lemon. This is a lime, I don't know. Lemon or lime tree, I have both. I have a lemon and a lime tree on the property. Can't remember which one's which though. We're gonna come out this way. And over here where the grapes are at, I've got a couple more of the tulips tucked in, and that is just really, really pretty. I love seeing them. We have them tucked in back here just in the 3 places, and next year I'm gonna go even harder with tulips because it was so worth it. And I think I'm gonna go harder in the backyard than I did in the front yard. The front yard has a ton of them, but we spend so much time in the backyard that I wanna be able to enjoy them back here more. The grape is going to get removed at some point, and so is the fence. We're gonna go with like a new style of fence that just kind of matches my style more. It'll tie into the espaliered honeysuckle that we currently have. I have a Kilmarnock willow in that terracotta pot over there, which that is gonna go to a friend's house. She wants a Kilmarnock willow. She has like a sentimental reason behind it, and so I told her she could have mine, which I'm happy it's going to a good home. It's just, you know, time. Our compost pile that is going to get taken out, and then all of this from here over is going to be a really beautiful flower bed. And then these tulips over here, this is more of the shocks and struts variety, and it's just, oh, it's just so beautiful. This is what it looks like up against a natural fence, and it's pretty, but it definitely is prettier up against a like solid black fence. I mean, I just love them regardless, but it'd be more beautiful once we finish the fence. So that'll happen this year. Our goal is by April, end of April, to get it done. We'll see how many sunny days and how many other things that I have to get done, like trip-wise, traveling and everything. But that's okay. I have a couple things coming up in here, which I'm really, really excited about. This right here is an ansonium called Storm Clouds, and it is so pretty. Look at the new growth. It's black. It is like straight black. And it's one of my favorites. I used to not be able to see it with the birch here, and so to have the birch gone and have this to be able to just kind of take off on its own is exciting. And then I also have a peony coming up right there, the little tiny red tips. So lots of tulips. I mean, look at that view. How could we hate that? The dogs, the birds, the tulips, the green grass. It looks like it should be summer with tulips here. I have a giant vitex right here that I am training into a tree form, multi-trunk. Usually vitex is a shrub that you can train into a tree. For the first couple years, I had just left it as a shrub, and this year we have fully started training it into a tree form. And I'm really excited about it. I think it'll be really pretty to have, you know, multi-trunks down here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trunks, and then all of the growth up above. It'll be really pretty. I have the Proudberry, or not Proudberry, this is the Berry Poppins right here. I do have a Proudberry though. So this is Berry Poppins, and then I have a Mr. Poppins also. This was one of my wish plants, like I need this plant, I want it so badly, winter interest, super beautiful. It's just my favorite. And then right here, I have okay, I keep calling it a Pyrrheus, but it's called something else. I was with Janie, she picked one up. Hers is huge in comparison to mine. If you have room for one of these, I recommend it. These flowers just look like wedding bells, and they're so pretty. You can train this into like a small tree form also. I'm obsessed with it. And there are so many blooms on this thing. This is one that has like a small amount of blooms in comparison to some of the other ones that I've seen. And it might have less blooms just because I did transplant it. But I mean, look at, you get really pretty new growth that's red. You get these beautiful white cascading flowers. It's really, really pretty. It's called Pieris japonica, not Piraeus, but I'm probably still gonna call it a Piraeus by accident. So, you know, listen to me sometimes, but not all the time, obviously. This is a hydrangea right here. This is a little lime hydrangea, and it's just budding out, so it looks like sticks. I have Japanese anemone that has taken over, but it is so worth it. And then this is our cake stand that we feed our birds on, all of the wild birds. This thing, they empty it out every single day. I could probably refill it 3 times, but we usually just fill it like once a day. Sometimes we forget, but we try to do it at least once a day. I have a lemon cypress right here, and it's looking so good. It's called like also a Wilma cypress or something like that, and it's really pretty. Evergreen, higher zones only though. We have a hop seed bush right there, and I think I'm gonna replace a bunch of plants on the property this year. I've got a whole bunch of evergreens by our gazebo, and I'm gonna replace those with this hop seed bush because look at how tall this has gotten, and it's great for privacy. It is an evergreen, and in the winter it's this beautiful red, dark burgundy color, and in the summertime it's a deep green color. So you get like 2 tones of interest. It's really gorgeous. Down below that, I have some columbine coming up. I cannot wait for you guys to see this in bloom. This is called Pink Petticoat, and it is so gorgeous. My favorite columbine I've ever grown in my entire life. And this one self-seeds, and it's slowly taking over, which I will gladly allow that to happen. You can see there's a whole bunch there, and then there's a couple over here. Every time I see it coming up, I'm trying to take seeds and sprinkle them. So I actually sprinkled some seeds this year, all the way over here. So those are the baby seedlings coming up all the way over here. I want that to be absolutely everywhere. That one that's right there, that's big, is probably about 2.5 years old now. So really good size. Look, I have a Brunnera coming up, blooming. For those that say you can't grow Brunnera in zone 9, you absolutely can. I think it's rated up to zone 7 or something like that. I'm zone 9. That one right there is about 3 years old, and it does totally fine. We actually have 3 of them on the property. I do have a ton of daffodils in this bed, and honestly, I've been disappointed the last 2 years with them. They should be multiplying and they should be happy and doing their thing, but they're not. I get a lot of foliar growth, and then I get very little blooms. So I don't know how much longer I'm gonna keep them. I had planted a ton of poppies in this bed. I think I probably had 50 poppies or something like that, 40 poppies, and every single one of them died. We had some birds come along and they pulled every single poppy out of this bed. So it's super disappointing because I was really excited about it. I love poppies, they're one of my favorite flowers, and for the birds to come along and remove all of them out of the ground was pretty heartbreaking, but that's okay, it's all right. I will find other things to put into this bed and we will move on. But let me show you guys what these daffodils are doing. So what's happening is they're coming up, and I'm getting all the foliar growth, and then they start to form their blooms, and it's just these bigger varieties. They come along and they don't actually they don't create a flower. They just create this like brown thing, the casing, and the flower doesn't come out. Like you can see, this one came out, and that is it. So I'm gonna get one out of this entire patch here. The only ones that are performing extremely well for me are these little guys right here. They're called Tay-to-Tay, and they've been performing really well, and they bloom really happily for me. But other than that, I'm not getting blooms out of anyone else. Okay, and then we're gonna quickly finish up this tour. I have some Dusty Miller right here. This is the traditional variety, and it is so gorgeous. It's so full. I love Dusty Miller so much. Like, look at how white this is. It's gorgeous. Dusty Miller, my favorite. And I will be growing a variety called New Look also. And then down here, this is Helen von Stein Lamb's Ear. I just cleaned the entire thing out, and it's starting to come back, and it's doing its thing. It's filling back in, which is exciting. We're gonna come through here, and I'm gonna give you guys a quick glimpse over here. You guys have seen this area a ton. This is the side yard area, which I do also have some tulips blooming. But look at, I have a magnolia coming. This is a magnolia called Ricky. I chose this one because it stays quite a bit smaller, and the blooms on it are this very, very dark purple color, and it blooms a little bit later than most magnolias. So I'm obsessed with it. And also this year, you guys know I'm obsessed with these daffodils. These ones right here, I need to deadhead a little bit. But these ones are called Mary Poppins, and she is so beautiful. And I recently found out that each bulb that you plant has multiple blooms that come out of each bulb. So out of each one, so like this is one bulb that I planted right here, and from there there's 2 right here, and somebody had said that you can get up to like 4 to 6 blooms per bulb. So I mean, one bulb gets you 4 to 6 blooms, which is crazy to me. I mean, I've got that one right there, and that one I've deadheaded 3 times now, and I'm still seeing more blooms coming out of it. So just an amazing performer in the garden, and I do plan to grow this one in my lawn next year. I want to do like a lawn with like hyacinth and some small daffodils like this, and just maybe a few other smaller bulbs. But we'll talk about that a different day. Down this way, this is the saguaro cypress right here. Super beautiful, really, really cool to look at. I don't know, I love the shape of it. It's supposed to look like a saguaro cactus, and it's very interesting, like a architectural piece almost. I think sorry if it's super windy and you guys hear it in the mic. Down here, I have some stock and some snapdragons. And then this is my other bed of tulips. I'm gonna move to this side, hold on. So on this side is the rest of the tulips, the last place I planted them. So you kind of come through the gate and you just get hit with tulips. When I'd planted them, we still had bricks in this area and bricks in this area. And what I'm gonna do next year is that I'm gonna plant tulips all the way along on both sides. So you walk down and it's just this like aisle of tulips. And I just think that that would be so gorgeous and magical to, you know, I mean, you walk down this like long path of tulips on both sides is just, I don't know, precious to me. Down here, or up here, I guess I should say, this is a clematis called Snowdrift, and it perfumes the air. It is blooming right now. You guys can see, and it's going to bloom a ton of blooms. And this is 1.5 years growth. This is probably currently at like 8-ish feet. Really, really tall. And it all comes from just one single stem. You can see, look at literally that one single stem right there. Is that not so crazy? It's an evergreen clematis. I think it's higher zones only though. And it's, like I said, it stays evergreen and it just blooms like crazy for us. The first year I did notice that some of it did burn. This is planted in afternoon sun, and it doesn't really love that. I should probably have planted it somewhere where it got morning sun, but so far so good. It burns a little bit in the summer, but not too bad. So we're gonna call it good. Over this way, I've got my new topiary rose, tree standard, patio tree, whatever you want to call it. This is Coco Loco, and I cannot wait to see this bloom. I'm so excited for the bloom color on it. And then we also have a red bud tree right here that is starting to form its blooms. I love red bud trees. I think that they're so pretty, especially ones that get extremely mature. And you see hundreds and hundreds of these beautiful blooms, and then the heart-shaped leaves in the summertime. So pretty. So I think that might be it. I do get some questions about this. This is a type of lily. I don't fully remember the name of it. If I remember, I will pop it up on the screen, but if not, it's a lily of some sort. All right, you guys, that is gonna be it for this garden tour. I know we just did one, but I mean, everything's changed. Everything is starting to bloom in the backyard, where the other garden tour, everything was blooming in the front yard. So that is gonna be it for this garden tour. The second one for the month. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the changes as much as I have enjoyed watching everything change. I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.